Dear Providence Church, do you know what it feels like when, as the expression goes, your corner's dark? Is there any of you experiencing emptiness? Or do you feel insignificant and completely without value? Do you feel like you can't even catch a break? Are you up against the bleakest of circumstances? I have some good news for you. God is knocking on your gate. Let him in, and your legacy will be one of providential grace and blessing. My story is told in a book, bearing my name within a set of the most remarkable literature that man has ever known. It's incredible. How could I, a Moabite girl from a race hated by the Hebrews, end up as a main character in their story that they tenderly orally repeated for decades, being entertained by the romantic notions therein, and then eventually etched on skins by scribes when its implication was being recognized? How astounding to know that as the pages of history turned, the significance of the love story continued to unfold, just as each petal of the plain bud opens to reveal the most glorious and majestic flower. I grew up in an idolatrous environment with an emptiness that I didn't understand. It was a constant hollow, a feeling that there is something meaningful out there that I was unable to grasp. I witnessed my folk indulging in more and more idolatry and degrading of passions, just trying to quench a thirst in their souls, which only worsened. I thought it was fate when I got married very young to an Israelite man and moved into his household. It was then disconcerting to know that it was one of his family's disobedience to their God that he married me. That awareness only fueled my insecurities. But even in those times, I started to feel a stirring of my soul. There was something about the God of my new family that warmed my heart and began to fill the empty void within me. I enjoyed the family celebrations and my sister-in-law Orpah, and I deeply loved our husband's mother, Naomi. Then tragedy struck. My husband and his brother died, leaving a household of destitute women, namely Naomi, Orpah, and myself. Times might be a little different now, but perhaps some of you can relate to being completely and suddenly stripped of the means to sustain your family. That was us. With no men in the family, we became penniless and completely in a rut. My mother-in-law didn't even have grandchildren, which, if there were, might have given her some hope for the future. But there was nothing, and she spiraled into depression. With nowhere to go, my mother-in-law headed for her homeland. Orpah and I loved her and followed her like two dogs behind their homeless master, but she made it clear that she had nothing to offer us and encouraged us in love to return to our homeland. Orpah eventually left, but I vowed with total surrender to remain by my mother-in-law and her God. It was at that moment of determination that I had a striking spiritual experience right there on that road to the land of Judah. I could feel the love of God surging within my soul, and poured within me was a spirit of commitment and faithfulness. My words said in those moments immortalized over thousands of years.
Entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me.
Isn't it interesting and fitting that those words of commitment are often used in wedding ceremonies by a bride covenanting commitment to her husband? The journey to Bethlehem continued in silence, as Mom was disappointed that I did not return home and was too angry to speak with me. But I resolved that with the help of God, I would provide for her. I arrived in that foreign land with Mom. It was surreal. Other than Mom, I had no family, no friends, and no money. I felt visible, sticking out like a sore thumb. In this land, I was an alien with a despised background. Everyone seemed to know our shameful status, but the love and acceptance of God for me pierced through those dark shadows. Instead of despairing, I was determined to work as hard as I could so that Mom could not starve, and boy, did I work. I signed up to the Hebrew Social Security system and one day went into a random, at least that's what I thought, part of a field to glean grain. I got permission of the harvesters to follow behind them, careful to not get in their way. Occasionally, a spikelet would fall to the ground and I was permitted to claim it. It was hard and long work, but it was an honest one, needing no tools other than my bare hands and my back. The manifesting of the early fruits of God's providence unraveled. That random portion of field that I chose to glean from belonged to Boaz, a relative of my mom's deceased husband. He had noticed me and did his inquiries and instantly offered his protection and blessing. His offer touched my soul and I was encouraged and comforted. You can read all the details in the book Bearing My Name, and you can even enjoy the twists and turns like one does when watching a drama. The language used to tell the budding romance between Boaz and me is suggestive. The Hebrews sure had their fun when they were telling and retelling the romantic story. But the Holy Spirit was at work as the scribe used his ink to capture the crux of the matter. It was a story of redemption. Mom and I were redeemed. But the coolest part is that the story plays a significant role in the redemption of all people in all directions of space and time travel. Not only that, it's a foreshadowing of the love between Jesus and his church, a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ's redemption of you. Do you see how God builds his story and ours? And God watches over us too. So my sister and brother, surrender yourself to Jesus today. Then trust in his redemption, his providential grace towards you, and his sovereign provision for you. He causes all things, even the direst of situations, to work together for the good of those who love the Lord. Always Ruth, writing from heaven. No, that's not set up. Do it again. Dead. No, stop. We're dead. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh man, sorry.
Just put elastic band.
No! We're winning! Yay! We're celebrating a happy couple! Yay! Okay, where's the skipping? Come, skip now. Skip. Mommy, we don't want to see you though.
Did you like Ruth's letter? Then you will like the study Love Lifted Me, a story of 4 women who were changed by God. The Be Held writers of the ministry Earth Basic trace God's loving hand in the lives of Rahab, Ruth, Bathsheba, and Mary. You can find this Bible study on Amazon.